So today we got this guy. This guy's a really cool guy. Not a your mom's house cool guy. I wouldn't put him in that caliber of human being at all. No, this man actually just celebrated an anniversary. Hence why we're making this a special Labor Day episode. It's getting released out of sequence. That means you're going to get 2 more this week still after this one, you lucky little bastards. Feeling hostile, burnt my feet today. Learned you should probably wear shoes when you grill because stepping on coals results in painful shit.
You got that kind of girl.
Dude, man, I only use charcoal. But anyway, this fella is probably single-handedly responsible for a huge portion of the online mics and shows that have ultimately occurred. Because he had the idea of, why don't I just make a group for everybody? And then it exploded into this like Hiroshima of insanity that I honestly have no idea how the fuck he maintains. But this man is Nico Lukoff. He is a wonderful human being. Why don't you give everybody that listens to this show a little introduction to yourself?
Sure. Well, you said all the good things about me. Everything else about me is horrible. So
Awesome.
My name is Nico Lukoff, and yeah, about a year ago, I started doing comedy open mics, and then the pandemic hit, and started this group. That's been a lot of fun. Got a full-time job, married with 3 kids, and hanging out in my garage talking to you guys.
Why do we do this to ourselves? I don't think there's been a person that I've talked to in the last 2 or 3 months who's not like, yeah, I don't know how I find time to breathe.
Dude. It's so convenient with these things. You just pop in your garage and you can, or wherever you're performing, and you're not spending, 3 hours getting round trip and waiting in lines and waiting for shit. And I don't know. You do a bunch of them.
Sort of want that experience, though.
Yeah. So obviously I wanted, it's not I'm not saying this is better by any means. It's just different. It's weird.
Yeah. I think Mark Norman had it best when he said it was methadone comedy.
Yeah. I saw that somebody said that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think for someone like Mark, yeah, it's absolutely methadone. I think for most normal comedians, it still could be a good form of heroin. And it's certainly going to be something that's going to stick around.
Yeah.
It's not going to methadone doesn't fuck you up.
Well, it totally does. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just, it's not, trust me, it's not the same. Not the same.
I'd have to trust you on that one.
You will. And it's not, because heroin's still better than sex, and methadone is like jerking off into a sock. No, for me, neither me or James can really vibe with the online thing. There's a couple people that I like doing shows with. I don't really do them, but when I get hankering, that's who I did. Jolie and Rachel, they both run super fun shows.
Yeah. Rachel's was the first mic I ever did on Zoom. And
I think she was one of the first people to do it.
She posted about that and was like, when was the first one? Because wanted to see, and there were actually a lot that were happening around the same time. There's like a 1 to 3 week period of time, and I'm gonna be off because someone's gonna have been way before then or whatever. But there's a 2 or 3 week period or so where there's just a bunch that had started. We just didn't all know about them yet, and I was just like, I really want to keep hitting a bunch of these, and I can't keep them straight because I had different regions. Because when I did mics live, it's when I would travel for work, and the Northwest is my territory as a salesperson, the company I work for. So I would be in Portland, and then I would join their Facebook group. Then I'd be in Seattle and join the Northwest, did this and that, and then I'm down over here in Sacramento, and then then I'm on all these pages, and then I'm like, oh, this one person or 2 people decided to put together a Zoom mic in this one place, and the only people that are going to see it are the people on that page, which is cool. But I was like, I want to do that one if that's cool with you. I'm not from your area, but I'd love to hop in and do it, and then just kind of piecing them all together and interrogating people to get all their information, and just kind of went from there. yeah, Rachel's was the first one that I did, and it did not go good. My first one.
It's
I'm
okay.
gonna do, like I had done 30 live mics ever, and I'm standing in my garage and figured out one angle that I thought like kind of didn't look like shit where I'm standing, the way I wanted to lay it out, and but I mean I had fun. I was glad I did it for sure. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna keep doing this, obviously.
Yeah, I mean during the quarantine, it sure as hell got me through a lot. I mean, I don't even know how many of them I did. I don't remember. I know I did Rachel's a couple times. One of those times made a really bad Jew joke, which that was uncomfortable for me. I just keep calling myself out over it because I feel fucking horrible. I don't even think she's mad about it. But I mean, and I remember doing one right after we were able to go back to work here in Ohio. I had forgotten I had signed up for one with the Villain Theater.
Oh yeah.
I was in the middle of work and I was like, well, fuck it. I kind of can do whatever I want. So I ran outside and like did it in my car. I mean, it's fun. If you can make it work, you can make it work. I don't know, man.
A lot of people do them in their car. There's people do like bikes and shows and stuff, and yeah, Villain Theaters is a fun one.
Yeah, theirs was pretty good. I've done Flappers. I remember doing that one at one point. I don't know. There's just so many of them. And it's not, like I said, it's not going to go away. And the community you helped build around it, man, I find invaluable because I find guests there.
Network. Yeah.
Just everybody talking to each other all the time. And once everything goes back to live, I mean, there's like a massive group of comics all over the United States and the world, really, for that matter, who are going to be able to work together to do a lot of really cool stuff, I think.
Dude, I'm going to hook up with some comics when I go to Tokyo in March.
Awesome.
And it's like, what? No motherfuckers in Tokyo now? That's cool.
That's badass. Yeah, I know there's the mic there that's like 4 a.m. Pacific, and I think there's some other ones too.
It's 7 a.m. here, and I'm just like,
Yeah, I did one with some guys in Thailand that was cool. I want to go out there and do some like actual shows just because it's fucking Thailand.
Cool.
That place is awesome.
There's certain things I like about it too. The Zoom mics that it's starting to grow on me. They're like there's just ways. And we had somebody on the show who was talking about just interacting with the camera differently and making use of the space you've got.
Yeah.
And like I got a joke about diapers, and I can show a picture on my phone, which I couldn't do that on stage if I wanted to. You know what I'm saying?
I was on.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was doing like this one that was like an improv show that I'm not like, that's not my forte at all. Like I'm not like I was scared like pretty much most like leading up to it and like until it actually started getting going. But then it was like someone had something. I ended up getting like a pork loin out of my freezer and like all this that I used as the prop, and like a thing of cookies because someone was talking about cookies, and like I was like texting my wife like, hey, how will the kids bring out a container of cookies real quick? Real quiet. And it's like, I just got to use, and when relating to people, like we're all, in our homes, like how relatable is that? Just like just the stuff that we have.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's that. In my opinion, I think that's what works way better than straight stand-up. Because I mean, as long as it's more of an acting kind of comedy than just a bang it out. I mean, George Wagner, he's one of the guys that I really like that does it.
Yeah.
But he does actual stand-up. And his timing is just so fucking good. He can do it on a Zoom mic, and the delay doesn't bother him. He stands up. He does the whole bit.
Yeah.
He, I got to commend the man for being able to do that. And there's another guy, Dimitri, on the complete other side of it. He's probably my all-time favorite Zoom comedian I've ever seen. Have you seen him on any of the shows?
No.
So he's the guy that wears all the weird hats and has the whiteboard like right here.
Yeah,
I love this dude so much.
What'd you say his name was?
I think it's Dimitri.
Dimitri?
I can never remember what it is. It might
There's a
not
guy.
be.
There's a guy Ed Smith that does like different characters and has a whiteboard sometimes, and sometimes there's different.
That's the guy. That's probably the guy then.
Oh.
Dimitri was probably one of his
How the
characters that I
fuck
caught.
did you mix up Dimitri and Ed?
It was probably one of his characters because I
Jesus
remember
Christ.
doing.
That sounds all right.
He did this thing. I was
Dude,
lit. All right. I just
should
remember
not have
him.
sold you those mushrooms.
No, that's not even. So
I was
Alpha
like, 'cause
Brain that has nothing to do with any of this. No, I was drunk when I remember seeing this, but I can never forget it. I just don't remember the guy's name because I'm bad with people's names. He was wearing like a tinfoil hat and had his whiteboard, and he was speaking in like an Eastern European accent. It was fucking hilarious.
And he always has his name is always, you know, whatever his character is. So like it's not, but yeah, it might be pronounced Smythe. I don't know, Smyth. But yeah, I love that guy. He's hilarious. Same with George. All these dudes and get ladies and everybody. It's a fun group. Fun
Yeah,
community.
and there's a lot of people who are taking to it way better than me, and that's cool. More power to you. Ohio's open. I'm content to do a show here and there.
I threw an invite out for a show this Friday to a couple people from a Zoom mic, and they're like, "I'm not doing live stuff right now."
It is hard to get people to actually watch them. Like it's really hard. Like you can get so many people like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. It doesn't matter if it's free. It doesn't matter if it's paid. Like it's at least the level of shows that I've been on has been really hard to get like some people to come in and do. There's a couple of people I can usually rely on, but yeah, it's hard to get an audience. The one thing I like too, this is weird, is like in real life, the open mic, you're like, I wish there was a real audience in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
The comedians aren't gonna laugh or whatever. And it was also because I was like not that funny. So like, but we know it's comedian. I mean, I wasn't that good at it, but it just in general, you know, it's like, oh, it's the comedians are hard to make. And then these, I'm not saying that everyone just like gives away laughs for free by any means, but like when they're actually attentive and watching, like we're, you know, if it's funny, people laugh. Like they're not like sitting there like, you know what I mean? Like we're not like as assholes to each other, which I hope translates in real life to some extent. Like
I understand that.
I don't laugh for free because that doesn't help anybody. But like, just if it's funny, just you know, be there.
They're more apt to fucking make a sound into their microphone than they would be at, like, if you're at a club in the back of the room, listen to an open mic, you're like, you know, you wouldn't hear that if you were on stage. But in the Zoom mic, you can hear it better. I don't know. I feel like they're faking it on every joke I say. I
feel like that too every time, but I'm gonna keep doing it.
Hey, I got playback of it. I get my set, and I think for me the biggest thing is it's outside of networking. Is how it's a writing workshop too. Even if it's not a writing workshop, if it's an actual Zoom mic, it still helps you craft how you're gonna say stuff better.
Yeah, and I think people are more apt to give tags to each other in these too. Just more frequent where it's like, oh, da-da-da, and you know, you were just supportive. It's nice.
Yeah, I mean, the writing groups is really what I've found mostly useful. Just because I don't know, I don't know. I'm not a Zoom guy. I just can't. It's fucking weird. It's like, so what's funny is like, I can get absolutely terrified before I go on stage. Like James seen it. Like I get like just freaked out and I got to drink, and not really drink, but you know, I'm freaked. But like before a Zoom mic, I go completely numb. Like, I don't know what it is about being in front of the camera, but it just messes with me.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. So that's part of what probably started it. A lot of me not liking it. But you know, it's cool. But the writing groups that have sprung up, which also have filtered into the group that you started, I mean, a lot of those are really good. The one that comes out of Tokyo is a lot of fun. I've done that one quite a few
Son of
times.
Stevens. I still haven't done it, but she does it so much, and she's so supportive, and just the way that I can tell the way she frames like every comment and post about anything, like that's a good place to be. And I know a lot of people really, really like it. I need to just buck up and do it.
Dude, it's so hard though, because of the timing, man, for us, like, especially us here in America, you're just like,
well, she does them at different times, like specifically, like, you know, this one's focused on the United States because it's around like 5%, or like, I don't remember this off my head. I think I should have them all on my list, but or they'll be like, oh, they're gonna be like in 2 hours, and it's like 11 at night, and I'm like, not in the frame to like go be like engaged and be helpful to others and myself writing, but it'll be like 1 a.m. and I'll like I probably shouldn't.
Yeah, that's blue
fading
mic
out.
time, which is the other one that I'm always willing to
Joey's.
do. Like Joey's is so much fucking fun.
It is
And
fun.
it
It's
goes for so
as
long. And
shit.
man, you can get like a bottle of liquor and just sit there and kick it and laugh your ass off and just have a good time for like 4 or 5 hours.
By the end of that show, everybody's fucking hammered.
Oh,
It's
it's
crazy.
so hammered every
Mhm.
time. I never remember how it ends or
I don't think
when.
I've watched it some of it once, but I haven't performed on it. But yeah, I know a lot of people really like that one, and it was
They
a
had a
good time.
huge
When I was
sign up
watching.
next week is she had to break it at 2 separate shows because there were
Smart.
so many fucking people.
Yeah, I've seen some folks do things like that, like do structured of different segments of like hours, and that's kind of cool because then you're not sitting there for necessarily 4 hours to get your spot when you still want to be supportive, but like that's a long time.
Yeah, I got like cooked dinner and
Yeah.
shit in the middle of the show. Like, I just leave my fucking camera on. Fuck it.
It's a good one though. And I mean she's managed to build herself quite a big little thing over there.
Yep.
Which is really cool. I mean,
Yeah, it's
and
funny. I'm gonna fucking send her a microphone.
Enjoy the hypothetical. Obviously, Friday nights always a blast with Sam and Athena. I mean, there's so many. I like if I start naming a bunch, like I'm gonna feel bad because there's gonna be some I don't talk about. But I like them all for different reasons, and I'm just glad people are putting the energy out to actually do them. Like I've
Yeah.
consolidated information, and I've interrogated a lot of people to get the information. Like it wasn't just like everyone's like, hey, here's my mics. Like I was literally hitting up like Sam, like, hey, how long is this set? Which days? How's this? Like all the information that I feel is important to share. I was like just grabbing, like just pulling from people to start assembling that and just trying to make it a good format. Now people a lot of times come to me and like post about their stuff. I still seek stuff out because now there's value in it. Because at first it was just the only value was to me and a few people was like, why would I spend my time answering all this guy's questions? But most people were really helpful.
Do you feel it's improved, like being in the mic, so many of them? Do you feel it's improved your delivery and your joke?
Yeah. Like if we went to my first open mic, like I probably I did some rough math, and I'm pretty sure I've done around 300 sets on Zoom.
Yeah.
And if there's no way to be the same, like absolutely. My first one was, I mean, I don't even do any of the jokes that I did for a while. I can't even put a time on it. But I've had a lot of opportunity to like work on stuff that I really wanted to dial in when it was live, but I just hadn't gone to. So yeah, absolutely. Delivery, everything, all of it. Like I'm, definitely going to be a different comedian than I was going in, which is cool too. Cause also it's fun seeing all these different people that kind of started in the beginning of the group too. And it was only a few months ago, like like April 18th, I think is when I started the page. And there's, folks, especially that started then and seeing their stuff now and seeing them have evolved as comedians already, like seeing that is just, I always love that about just being a fan of comedy. Like I'd listen to someone's album and I'd want to find like people that weren't necessarily like having a bunch of big specials, but like you could find their albums you can download or buy or whatever. And it would be, some of the same jokes sometimes, but like evolved and like, oh shit, that got better. That was so cool.
Yeah.
I remember that one. And then same kind of thing on here being like, oh shit, like I had never heard that before. And I've seen this person like 50 times, or I heard it before, but now it has this angle. And now for everyone else who hasn't seen that before, that's just a brand new thing. And I'm just like, yes, that was awesome. And it's been fun to see people evolve.
I mean, a lot of people have taken advantage of it. I mean, I know whenever I was locked down, I sure as hell did. I don't even know how, like I said, I don't know how many I did. And it's not, part of the reason I think I don't do them anymore also is because I'm always on my damn podcast talking to people.
Yeah.
that doesn't really ever seem to stop. So I don't really have time anymore, which is kind of
it's your time. You can schedule it. You're making it all up, man.
Well, right now is usually when I'll be hitting the first mic that I'll do for the day. And then I'll go back and hang with my family. And then when kids go to bed is when I'll start hitting some more, just depending on what's going on.
Every day?
There's been a couple days where I didn't do any.
Okay.
But yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much every day.
I should probably like not every day. sometimes I tell myself that, but then I'm like, oh, there's this one right here. And like, I can go hop on and do a set real quick. Yeah,
well, yeah,
like,
that definitely goes into part of the reason why I don't frequently do them either, because I have that tendency to just go running off and start doing shows like every 5 minutes if I can, and then my wife wants to castrate me because she's glaring at me right now as she brought me this nice glass of water. Thank you, I love you. She knows I'm fucking right, and I'm not. I know myself. I'm willing to admit it. I mean, it's that addict part of me, you know. And I love the shit out of comedy, and whenever especially once you created the group, and it became so easy and available to just do it. I went fucking nuts. So that probably has part of the reason why I stayed away from.
You should tomorrow night, man. Friday night's a fun Zoom night. There's so many within like a period of a couple hours if you time it right. Like I logged in on my phone to one to like get my spot and like waiting for this one over here and then jumping over here. It's confusing and gets a little stressful, but you could get 4 to 6 sets in within like a 3-hour period if you fucking go for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I mean,
I'm not saying you want to do that, but
we got a real in person open mic tomorrow.
Well, this would have actually been 2 days ago from whenever we released it, because it's, the super time warp of Podcastville. But yeah, man, there's everybody in Columbus has pretty much been waiting for this one open mic to show up, and they're like, signups are at 6, show starts at 7. We'll probably be done at like 10:30.
Well, there's a curfew.
11, yeah. So
is it 11? I thought it was 10.
Well, no, 10 is last call.
10 is last call here. So there's plenty of time to get home and get on fucking Zoom.
Yeah.
Cry about how it's so different.
Yeah, I bombed on Zoom in a way that was the closest feeling that I had to bombing in real life. And like, that was just so bizarre. That was so weird. And part of it was like there was like a heckle. Like I started out with the joke that like I would just started tweaking a little bit, but also you got faces looking at you, but they are not responding at all. Like when they're giving you eye contact, or it feels like eye contact, or it's worse where they give you eye contact and then they do respond. Then you say another line that's that's funny, that like works, and they're still watching, and then it says 0. It's like, what just happened in those 3 seconds? I'd rather just not see anybody, because I perform for myself in like wherever all day, all night. Like I could totally do that and be totally, not happy, but I mean, I can do that. It doesn't throw me off. But when I can see everybody and that happened, and then someone came on and was like kind of Zoom bombing, heckling the room, and they were going to get kicked out, but then instead someone else got kicked out, who was the friend of one of the comedians who was the only one that was paying any attention. So then they're pissed because their friend's kicked out and can't get back in. And this heckler gets out, and the whole time the host and another person, who I didn't realize the other person was also like in the production part, they're stressing out trying to figure out who was getting kicked out. And I'm just like eating shit. I'm just like, I'm just going to keep doing my set. And then I just was done, and like my soul just crumbled. And I was like, I haven't felt this in months. And I was like, when I was talking to my wife, I'm like, that was just the worst. I don't even, that was just horrible. Like I was just kind of going on a little bit about it. And then I didn't know all the behind the scenes stuff. Like I didn't know that the person got kicked out and the whatever. Like all I knew was this guy came on the screen and started like just saying stupid shit, and eventually got muted and kicked out. And I said something stupid back that was like not how, like I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't handle it well. But luckily there's only like 5 people that ever saw it. It wasn't like streamed anywhere, but then I'm like, okay, now I'm realizing all these things happen that were working against me. I had no idea. Plus it's fucking Zoom. Like it's just weird. Like, and there's delays and things, like on top of it just being weird that it's Zoom. And I was just like, okay, I did try something kind of new in the beginning that wasn't great. And I knew I kind of screwed up my opener a little bit. And then it kind of threw me off this motion, and then all this, and was like, then all these things. And then I listened to it again. I'm like, because I just recorded on my phone, the audio, and I went, I actually held it together pretty good for everything I was fighting. And then I proceeded to do like 2 or 3 more Zoom mics, and they went awesome, and I felt fucking amazing. And then I'm like, you know what? Now I know how to handle it next time. And next time that person comes on and does something like that, it's just going to be, it's going to be to my advantage. And
So was this kind of in the beginning of the whole pandemic? Because
this
I
wasn't-
remember back then, man, like whenever the online Zoom mics first started, it was like the Wild West, man. There had to be somebody with their finger like on the ban button because all of a sudden it's like boom. I remember there was this one. I think it was the DMV show whenever it first started. The one, what's her name?
It's so fun.
he's gonna get the name totally wrong too,
He
but
will
I'll
get it wrong.
figure out
Even
who
if
it
he
is.
remembers it, it's gonna be the
No,
wrong name.
because the name that's in my head is not her actual name.
Yeah,
It
of
starts
course.
with a E.
Ellen.
Fuck. No. She's a horribly mean person. I don't know. This chick's really cool. She's in Maryland.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Lonnie?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I was on her mic last night. Woody Wednesdays.
Yeah. So
Woody
whenever that
Wednesdays.
first started, there was this person of color who was also gay, I guess. And nobody really knew about Zoom bombing or any of that stuff yet.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It was still
Yeah.
Right.
so new. Oh my God, what he went through was like, and the man, he remained his full composure, did perfectly fine. But I'm just sitting there like, holy crap, this is so awesome. This is like such a shit show. It's like that really felt like a bar show.
Was there a lot of noise? A lot of people just rustling? And-
Well, people would like, how like you can screen grab, by
Mhm.
creating noise. Like they would do
Mhm.
that, but they would be sharing their screen and it'd be like a giant cock. And it was
Oh.
just like,
It's like if people at a comedy show could do that, all the things they would
yeah,
actually
it
do.
was.
Yeah. Yeah. That
It
sounds
was-
awesome.
Oh, it was. I mean, it was fun for me, but it was absolutely not fun for him or for her,
Yeah.
or most other. Like I'm just into that sick, twisted sense of humor kind of stuff. So I mean, I
Yeah.
could enjoy that. But I understand why other people wouldn't. I get that.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and this is like, hey, boo, everybody, like that kind of thing. It
Oh
wasn't like-
no! This was definitely not that.
that
It
was where I was like,
there were
oh
like
shit, I know what I said.
slurs
was great or something.
thrown and like it was bad. It was like,
But also live, that shit's gonna happen. And you
yeah,
can't
man,
beat
yeah.
anybody.
Well,
And I haven't,
Mhm.
I hadn't experienced that live either. So when someone comes up and says something other than laughter or a gasp or some kind of sound you'd want to hear, then I think I'm gonna be a little better prepared for it. I say that, but we'll actually see when it
Yeah, we'll
happens.
see.
Because who knows? I can go out live and like do a set that's like 10 minutes that I think is great and had worked on the internet and go like, oh no, that's not good.
Right.
That's like my
Yeah.
biggest fear. And I'm
Right.
like, that could happen, but I'm hoping I feel like if it does, then oh well, like I'll learn from it.
Well, that is one of the cool thing about Zoom shows because if the people who are watching, who are also participating are actually paying attention, you can tell real quick when your joke is not working and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I need to fix that really bad.
Sometimes the internet delay messes with that a little bit, but yeah, but I absolutely agree. People are actually, when they're paying attention, it might be only 3 people, but might be 20. But when they're paying attention, you can tell, like, okay, that went good or didn't. Well,
Yeah.
That's
But
the
it's
funny
good.
thing. I can't see anyone when I'm doing stand up on Zoom. Like
Oh.
it's just because I'm tunnel vision into like my notes or something. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to
Yeah.
think about what I'm gonna say and how funny it is, and trying to also not throw up. So I just gotta stay in the zone.
I throw it all on gallery
Right.
view. I just want to see everybody.
Yeah, I do that too. But
Even
it's
if
like,
you're muted, I want to see you. But like, yeah, and I don't. Yeah, I could definitely see that. It's just neat to hear everyone's takes on all this too, like because everyone's approach, and these are things that we don't necessarily always talk about. And hanging out afterwards too is fun also. Just like, one of the fun things about obviously doing a live mic is afterwards everyone just hanging out and going to the bar or whatever, staying there doing something, talking shit. And a lot of these Zooms do that after, and a lot don't.
Yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fucking fun.
Oh, fuck.
Matt, you're so fucking red right now.
Dude, I'm telling you,
look
man,
you
like
look like a fucking strawberry.
I'm just fucking my foot hurts. I'm telling you, please everybody, if you fucking grill with charcoal, wear shoes. I thought I was a gangster and I could make do, and apparently a coal I thought was out wasn't. Now the bottom of my feet are angry.
I'm gonna give you a ring light. It's on
zoning
Amazon.
off.
Did you use like one of the chimneys? I've done that when you get the chimneys of coals and you set it down.
I think that's when it happened. I think
And
one
your
of them
little
popped
vent
out of my
buffer.
chimney. Yeah. So just don't be a dumbass like me. It's cool, and you won't stare off into space because you had to over medicate with your cannabis
There you go.
to make your to make your foot not throb.
That was also part of these Zooms. People like smoke, I think, more weed than they would if they weren't doing a Zoom. Just because I'm like, do you really smoke weed like every 6 minutes? Like, that's cool. But it'll be somebody will be like, how much you smoke in an hour? Like, if you were doing anything else, would you like be smoking this often? Which is cool. Like, I think it's great. But it's just been like, that's just a lot.
Hey man, during my 2-month run, I definitely drank way more than normal. I mean, there were quite a few nights where I'd stand up and be like, "Oh, thank God my bed is this close."
Oh yeah, for sure. Like,
yeah.
you can just hang.
You can't
actually abstaining from all the stuff right now for the duration.
There's one Zoom mic that I think is kind of on purpose. I don't even call it a heckle, but like purposefully, there'll be like some people who will just hit their bongs really close to the microphone in the middle of your shit, just to do it. And since no one's used to being on, everyone's on the same volume at least on Zoom. That's one thing I think they got to change, or someone else is gonna come in and do that better job of that. Same thing, like I invited some friends, family members who never seen me do comedy, who'd never been on Zoom before, to a Zoom show, like a professionally produced like comedy show on Zoom, and they had they had their earbuds in and stuff, and they like whisper to somebody next to them, and just everyone hears it. Obviously, a lot of. And why would you think that? Like, it doesn't make any sense if you're at a comedy club and you're like. I accidentally muted, but yeah, like you're at a comedy club.
That's really what it's like. That's what you see, unless like everybody's like drunkenly talking loud. Most people are being polite, and you just see him like leaning over, like, oh.
Yeah, being a little quiet in real life, like super quiet, which you shouldn't say, but still you say something. But then like in Zoom, just everybody hears it, and the people that have never been on Zoom before are like, oh shit.
I got into a argument with my wife once.
I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Once. You're talking today.
Yeah. So it started in the midst of a Zoom show, and I realized I needed to get off of the Zoom show whenever I was like, "You fucking bitch," and I heard somebody gasp.
Oh man, that's a death warrant right there.
Getting more red.
Because all the blood.
You are
I'm laughing
purple right
so
now.
I'm gonna screenshot
albinos change color when this is the shading of our humor. You can tell. Fuck, it was like, looking back I laughed, but at the time, like, I was it was not awesome. And I was I've seen some pretty random things happen in some Zoom shows, because I may not do them, but I do watch a lot of them whenever they broadcast, because I gotta do stuff with my life, and there has to be like sound filling it. I may as well laugh.
Right.
So
yeah,
it's cool.
Well, Nico, how long have you done stand-up before all the bullshit went down?
I'm at a year total as a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, you missed the whole. This is the belated anniversary.
Yeah.
Of the, hence why it's the Labor Day special release.
That's awesome.
Because it's Podcastville and timing doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I'd been doing about 7 months, but it wasn't consistent because I was just doing it when I traveled. So so like some weeks I would do like 1 to 4 mics, and then I might not do any for like 3 weeks. So I did about 30 total, which is not a lot over that period of time.
It's more than what I got, but
but then, done a lot more on these, and when things open up, intend to do more live, and then do some still when I'm traveling, just from my hotel room, just, hopping on my laptop, which I've done a couple like overnight trips over the last few weeks, and, would just sit and just do like 3 or 4 in a row, just because why not?
I mean, it's
Exactly.
something
Especially if you're sitting in a
definitely to
hotel.
do. Yeah, if you're in a hotel, you may as well.
Yeah,
Hell, I would if I was in a hotel by myself. There's no, at least you got people to talk to.
Yeah, it's like I
only
can go
so
on
much
Netflix
jerking
and
off I can
whatever. So I'll just like hang out and talk to my wife and kids and stuff, and then do some sets. And I think when everything opens up, I think this is still going to be a thing. I think it's going to change, obviously, because a lot of the people that do these mics, I put them on, or do them in lieu of a live one that was associated with. So they're going to go do the live one, maybe not do the online one, or maybe some of them, I think some will still maybe do a different night. Also, I think a lot of people that go out, now this is my overly optimistic view, which I understand is likely skewed, is I'm going to go and thousands of other people are going to go to live mics and be like, hey, did you know we could also do this other nights or days? Like, did you know if we can get up, we can only get to this bar maybe once a week, but 2-3 nights a week as a group, or once a night, 1 night a week, why don't we all just get together on Zoom and run sets? Like, why not? And I think, I don't know. I think that'll spawn some more of them, but I don't know. We'll see.
I have to agree with you, because I mean, I think the part of it too is because the whole country is not opening at the same fucking time. Everything's running on different rules, so you're gonna have places that are just gonna, like California's just gonna stay locked down for till 2022 probably. I don't know. They're about that. Yeah. I mean, so with everybody doing something different, I feel like it's one way that everybody can still come together.
Yeah. Especially different areas, or like, because I don't know if you guys noticed, a lot of these Zooms, there's usually not a ton of people from the same area. Because it's usually not, I've seen some bikes that are, but it's usually not like, hey, this is the same group that always goes to this one mic, and now we're just going to go online. Usually when that happens, it's like 2 or 3 of those people, and then everybody else who just happens to find out about it. There's been a couple that are, which is actually really fun, because then you see a whole scene, you're like, oh shit, I got real audience right now. Because doing this, hundreds of times, you see the same people over and over, which is great. I love it. But like, it's also really exciting. Like, oh, I've never seen these people in comedy. They've never seen me before. This is going to be just extra special. But typically it's like, 1 or 2 people from a scene, and then other people that come together, which, together we are a big scene. And then, so I don't know. So I think more in each area is going to do more of them. I hope. I don't know.
Now that leads me to another question. Do you think there are too many comedians now? And should we start killing them?
Well, let's just start making them go out in public, and not. That's one that I said, like, right when some clubs are opening really early, like comedy clubs are opening up now, in an effort to get rid of comedians.
I could see that. Hey, maybe that's why the Funny Bone's finally opening back up.
I'm hoping
it's
so.
like, all right, there's so many of them. You guys catch them at the.
I only said that one a couple of times, and that was months ago when some were opening for like a week, and then they shut down again real quick. I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, before I started doing any of this, like even in one mic, like I didn't know how many comedians there were. I didn't realize like how many super funny people there are in different areas. And that's one cool thing about this too, is like when I started doing mics, I'm like, it's like in Portland and Seattle area, I'm like, there's comedians here that I might have never known about ever, that are just as funny and funnier than just about any other professional comedian I've seen on Netflix or wherever. But then on these, you watch and go, oh shit, I can tell this person is the real deal. We're just on a Zoom open mic and they're from some region that why would I know who like the top performers are, like why would I know who they are in that area? And now I get to see them, perform with them, get advice from them, and talk to them.
Which is invaluable.
That was like the hardest, other than being funny. That was one of the harder things about, I think, doing live mics previously for me, just because I was so new at it, was like getting real feedback and not knowing like how to improve, not trying to like pass that buck on somebody else, but like, hey, I just said all this stuff. What's like some kind of critique in some fashion without it being super awkward? And I think this, like going back to those writing groups and stuff we were talking about, it's an environment that kind of, you know, doesn't make that as challenging.
Yeah, I completely agree. I agree. I mean, there's a Discord I still do with some guys like in another city here in Ohio. We write together. Not so much now that Ohio's basically open. We just can't be out past 11 or else we get a smack on the wrist.
We're basically open, except they can tell us when to go to bed.
Yeah.
So do you have to be like, are you supposed to be like a certain distance or like mask?
Yeah. There's
mask mandatory. Yeah.
Mask mandatory statewide. Can't have groups more than 10.
Unless you're a protest.
Groups have to be, and that's only because it's protected by the First Amendment and they have no ability to actually enforce.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would just not work out.
Because 11 people, that's when it gets dangerous.
Well, no, it's just like, well, no, you can have like a group of 10 people who are affiliated with each other, and then 6 feet away from that group of 10 people, there can be another group of 10 people. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, you can only have 10 people come to your show. You could have 300 people come to the show. It's just they all have to be properly distanced. So good fucking luck with that many.
Right.
Everyone's drinking and having a good time. Like, how's that going to happen?
And there's some places that have done a very good job, and some places I performed at that have absolutely not done a good job.
Have done shit.
So,
that place I saw you at, they were like, what virus? What are you talking about?
Of
course, it was in a fucking closet.
Well, I mean, and it was
beautiful,
distant and cool and fine. It was
fun.
There was alcohol to kill the COVID, so it was okay. So we're open. It's just not completely open. I mean, the only way to really get away with doing an actual, like, normal kind of like show night, would be if you're doing it outdoors with no alcohol service.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of doesn't sound like
terrible.
A lot of fun, unless you're Dave Chappelle, and then it's like, okay, I'm willing to not drink just to go see that.
And for $475.
Yeah.
Or,
there's that.
Mark Norman's going around, and I've seen those videos. Those are pretty funny.
Those are pretty hilarious.
He's obviously hilarious. So, and his whole stuff's funny.
I
that
like
dude
Mark.
is PRO, man. I love that guy.
So when he came out with that first video, I was about to do a show, and I was like, man, I'm gonna do this and this because I was all nervous and shit. And then Mark Norman goes, I've got these notes and I'm gonna put them right here, and I'm like, fuck.
You stole his idea.
He got my shit.
You stole it.
Now you can't do it, or you're stealing.
No, that's the parallel thought. I still did it anyway.
Cultural appropriation.
And he definitely, certainly, culturally appropriated it way better than I did. But
talking about your albino culture appropriating our.
Oh well, then we can. We're chameleons, man. Don't you know? We like filter throughout the rest of society. It's like that. That iguana that was in, I think it was Mulan, maybe. The like really sneaky chameleon. The Emperor wears no clothes. No, the Emperor has a new groove. The one where he gets turned into a llama. Something.
Yeah, I missed that one too.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, fucking Disney, man. I'm telling you, the people who make Disney movies eat almost as many hallucinogens as I used to.
Yeah, I believe that.
Probably. So where can people find you, man? I mean, I know you've probably got YouTube videos out there, I'm hoping, or
I don't have much of my YouTube videos. Just on Instagram is where I post when I'm doing shows on Zoom, and Displaced Comedian's Facebook group. I mean, that's where I am. I mean, if you go in there, you'll find me pretty quick.
It's huge. How many members does that group have now?
I think about 3,070. Almost. Yeah. So right about there.
I remember when it was
3,500.
Baby.
3,068. I was close.
That's nice.
It's been neat because a lot of the new people, there's been a lot of opportunity kind of stuff popping up as of late. Like casting for different types of things and like just new things like that, which has been pretty fun.
Yeah, man. I mean, you fucking did it, dude. You built a badass little community for comedians to hang out with each other and get to know each other in and fuck around and do all the things that we couldn't do because we had it ripped out from our fingertips.
And he's rolling in dough too. I know that. He goes got that Facebook money. He's just like,
oh yeah.
Oh man.
Haven't done anything like that. And I've been careful about that too, because like once money's involved, expectations change.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
And liabilities.
Now you're responsible.
Yeah, and I'm like, then you're gonna start being a little more upset if I take more than a day or two to post your mic on my page. I'm like, yeah.
But I mean, I think that's a lot of what, you know, even though I was going to end the episode, that really does remind me of something, I think, that is unique amongst your group. Like, every comedian wants to get paid, right? Like, we all fucking want money. That's we're people. Most of us have fucking families, and we're psychotic, and we're like, we got to go tell jokes for a living. Sorry, kids, you're going to eat beans tonight. But one thing I've noticed about the group that you've created and all the mics and the way everybody is meshed, it's almost like like money doesn't even fucking matter to anybody. They're just like, you know, it's cool. A couple people have thrown out like some things like, hey, help us do this because we had to pay for all this other shit or whatever, you know, but like, I think anytime I've ever seen someone who like got angry that they weren't getting paid to be on Zoom shows, it was like the whole 3,000 people would just like swarm and be like, dude, are you fucking serious? Do you have any idea the fucking effort of this? Fuck you. And then like they're gone. And you're just like,
what was
awesome.
Was it just Displaced Comedians though that girl was trying to set up a show and charging comedians to be on it? Like,
yes,
it was like $20 a pop.
It was.
She got eviscerated.
Yeah, people message me and they're like, "Hey, can I post about my mic? We charge to do it." And I'm like, "Look, you can absolutely do that. I just want to prepare you because it's very likely that you're going to get a negative response. You'll get a more positive response if there's a thing, like if it's your brick and mortar that's trying to breathe right now, and you're just asking for that." Mm-hmm. And if there's an opportunity to maybe do it for free, and some do one or some do both, but just know that if you do post about that, you're going to get certain reactions. That person who made that post unfortunately didn't reach out and hadn't really read the room, seeing that there were about 100 other opportunities, and what was being brought at that moment, I don't view as very different than a lot of other ones. Now, if they came in and said, "Hey, I got 50 people that are going to watch us, and it's a live audience," I think the value that you're bringing now is a little different to then what's out there. But it's what's going to happen. It's what's going to happen. And
well, sorry,
people take advantage.
Well, I think the fact that you've kept money out of it, and no one has else really tried to inject money into it and been able to succeed because nobody wants money involved in it. It's like, that's why I'm still hanging out. I mean, even though I'm not doing the Zoom mics, that's why I'm still hanging out with everybody, because it's like, it's still a community, you know, and it's a big fucking community. And I appreciate you putting it together, man. It's pretty fucking awesome that you did that.
It is awesome. Thanks for letting me join.
It definitely helped me not lose my fucking mind completely whenever I was locked in my house with my family and kids and shit. So
it's the only reason I get on Facebook is to look at that fucking.
And there are some paid opportunities. There are some paid Zoom. I've been paid for Zoom shows before. There are people that post some paid Zoom. So I want to put that out there. It does happen.
Oh, yeah. Wait, it's starting. It is starting now.
Yeah,
it is absolutely starting to happen now. I think I got invited to one. I don't know.
Like, I'm not retiring. I'm not quitting my day job. I'm very fortunate to have a good, career. But it's also not shitty to get paid a little bit to do something you love.
Sit on your butt and talking to a microphone in front of your computer.
Anyway.
Yeah, right. So okay.
I just sit here and talk to myself on this fucking mic most of the day anyway. Might as well flip the Zoom switch.
Well, everybody, we will make sure to include links to where you can find all this menagerie of information. I guess plethora would be a much better word. Menagerie that usually pertains to animals, I think. But yeah, Nico, man, I appreciate it, dude. Appreciate you coming on. Hope everybody enjoys the rest of your Labor Day.
Me too.
Don't drink too much. Barbecue some food with shoes on. And you guys have a good day.
Thanks for doing this and being a part of the community too.
Yeah, no problem.
Enjoyed it.
All right. See ya.